Good morning, and what a lovely day. I'd like to share a little bit my thoughts on peace. And we are fortunate enough, I suppose, or I don't know how you put it really, but we have a thing called the United Nations that's got 162 member states that you can only join if you are peace-loving and are able to promote peace around the world, which sounds really good in practice, doesn't it? You know, a peace-loving organisation is there just to promote peace, unity. That's it's a lovely thing. Wouldn't it be good? Or do you know of? There's a National Day, Book Day. There's a National Day for, I don't know, smoking. There's a National Day for everything you can imagine. There's a day for it, isn't there? When's a National Peace Day? There isn't a national, or is there a National Peace Day? Do you know of a National Peace Day? Well, there is one. It's the 21st of September. Now it's run by the UN. The UN introduced a day of peace. Now every other National Day is advertised on TV. We all get to see it, don't we? Today's National No Smoking Day. Today's National No Drinking Day. Dry January, etc. It's all promoted on the TV. Yet the National Peace Day, everyone I've asked doesn't know anything about it. And I didn't know there was one, so I had to do some research to find out. And I found it was the 21st of September. Now there's 162 states, sovereign states, that are members of the UN. And they're there all to promote peace. Now America and Britain are part of that. I looked into Britain, and America comes along with it because we're, little sisters and brothers, etc. A special relationship. I could not find a time in history when we've been at peace. There must have been, but I cannot find a time when we've been at peace with the world. We've been fighting constantly since I could find back in time. I couldn't find a peaceful time. Yet we're members of the UN. And that's peace-loving, meant to promote peace around the world. And America, the state of Colombia is an independent state. It's no different from the Vatican City, which is a state within a state. They make their own rules, own regulations. They answer to no one. No one in the world can tell them what to do on that state. There's the City of London that we keep hearing about to do with the EU. That's nothing to do with England, nothing to do with Britain. It is a corporation. It is a state within a state that makes its own rules, own regulations. Answerable to no one. You'll see every year the Black Rod goes and knocks on the door of the City of London and asks to come in. And the Queen is granted access to come in, to go and meet the Mayor of the City of London. Again, which she has no control. None of us have any control over that. She has no control over the City of London. It does what it wants, when it wants. It's a financial centre of the world. I went back into the history of that. And surprisingly enough, the Great Fire of London, all the evidence points to it being set up. It might not be, I'm completely wrong. But they had to move these slums, which they did. There was a fire, Great Fire of London, we all know about it. It started in Pudding Lane. Well, a square mile was cleared, burnt. And that square mile was scraped away. And the City of London, which was a state within a state, was set up on that square mile. Because they had to get rid of the slums, they had to get rid of the scum that lived on it. So that's how they did it. So anyway, it's a state within a state that doesn't answer to the Queen, doesn't answer to the country. It has its own rules, regulations. It cannot be told what to do, when to do it, or how to do it. The City of Colombia is another state within a state that answers to no one. And that's where the armies are kept, the City of London. So these three states are states within states. But anyway, America is the arms enforcers. They're enforcers of the world. The state of Colombia which answers to no one, is a state within a state, and it is the enforcer of the world. It goes around pretending it's a high moral, and we're a high moral stature, and it goes around, we are enforcing democracy and peace on the rest of the world, and they're part of the UN, and we follow them in like little lapdogs that we are. So anyway, we go back to the state of the UN. So anyone that joins the UN must be a peace-loving nation ready to spread peace around the world. And the army of the world, at the moment, is in America. It's slowly being sucked over into the EU, who want to create a world army, which is very dangerous, because they're answerable to no one. We don't know who they're answerable to. They're answerable to no one. Certainly not to you, to me. You know, so it's dangerous anyway. So anyway, the National Peace Day that no one seems to know about, and yet the UN, who have 162 member states, are there to promote this peace. There's no silence, there's no minute silence for peace, there's none of that. It's never mentioned, never heard of. The Chinese collected money from children and made a bell. How beautiful is that? Because it's for the children's future. So they made a bell and presented it to the UN. And the UN strike it every year on September the 12th to ring out peace around the world. When has that ever been advertised on TV? When do we know about this moment's peace that is done in secret in the UN and not advertised to the people? Or the people don't get to join into this 1 minute or 10 seconds of silence. You know, to think of peace and focus on peace and love around the world. It doesn't happen. So when your governments tell you that they're looking to promote peace, absolutely not. There's no truth in that at all, is there? You know, they're there to invade other countries. They've got their own agendas going on, and they're controlled by other. Know that just by, you know, what's actually going on. Anyone that's tried to promote peace and unity. You look at Lincoln, look at Kennedy, that's 2 Americans, Luther King, Gandhi, John Lennon. Choose any of these people that stood up and sang or spoke or tried to promote peace in the world. Unity. They've been removed. Quite harshly and dramatically removed. You know, at one time there was songs that some of you wouldn't remember, but there were songs singing about peace and love and stuff like that. You know, the people that control the industry, the music industry, have slowly removed that, and now it's all about gang warfare and, you know, GTA. You know, it's all about the violence and stuff like that. There is no one singing or shouting or holding up a flag for unity and peace. They just don't get up there anymore. You just don't hear of them. You know. So peace is something we need to find within ourselves before we can find it in the world, or we can find it in ourselves and put it into the world. You know, if you're peaceful, you can take that out with you. You know, we're all humans. We will lose every now and again. You know, that's a trait we've got. But we should be trying to focus on peace. That takes you nicely into patriotism. Because what is patriotism? Patriotism is a device of separation. There's no unity in patriotism. Only unity when you go and attack another country. That's unity. That's a unity that's promoted. I was born on a piece of soil, a piece of mud that was surrounded by water. Just a piece of mud. Could have been anywhere. It happens to be in a certain part of the globe that some people have called England. Now I'm supposed to hate another person from another piece of mud separated by a piece of water because they weren't born on the same piece of mud as me. You know, it's absurd, isn't it? It's absurd. I understand that I wouldn't let anyone into my home because some people are functioning in different places within themselves. Some people are functioning where they would hurt you or take things from you, and other people are functioning where they think the same as you. You know, where they would rather share your company and be friendly and help if they possibly can. So that's the sort of people I want to let into my house. And that's no different to a country. I understand that. But on the whole, patriotism is a system of separation. And there are checks and balances, or should be, that have been removed by the people that, rather than represent us, we can see the more deep you look, they control us. So the people that control us have removed these checks and balances because it suits a purpose that they're aware of and we're not. If I was asking you, could you sort out a situation, say immigration, I'm pretty sure you could come up with a solution. You know? And these people that run the country are the best in the world, say. And they're unable to do any of it, or unwilling to do any of it. So patriotism is a device of separation. It's not a device of unification. The second you stand up and you be proud of this coloured rag, I mean, what is a flag except a coloured rag hanging from a stick, being fluttered around by the wind? You must fight and die for that thing. It's a piece of rag hanging from a stick, being blown around by the wind. But it's what it represents. It's what you tell me it represents that I must buy into, to then don some other coloured rags. If I went out in the street and give somebody a shove, there's a thing called the law of the land, where if you cause someone harm or loss, then you have to pay recompense for that, which is justly so. But if I go and take a job with a government organisation, and they dress me in some different coloured rags, some different coloured clothes, let's call it a uniform, I then have the right, in fact, I have no choice. Once I don those different coloured clothes, and I sign away my moral obligation, which is what you do when you join an army, you sign away your moral integrity. You have no right to any moral decisions. You have to do as you're told. If you don't do what you're told, then you're going to get locked up. You're going to army prison because you refused an order. You have your morals cannot step in and say, I'm not doing that because I don't agree with it. How crazy is that? So you then have to go abroad or go and hurt somebody, and shoot someone, kill someone, whatever. You know, this is a peace-loving nation that's part of the UN. Isn't it mad? Isn't it crazy? When you don't know who and what you are, you can be told you're who and whatever somebody else wants you to be. And if you're not solid in yourself, if you don't understand your own connections, then you'll take that on board and you'll accept that. You'll behave that way. Because you have no grounding. You have no understanding of what you are. You know, we're not designed. I just say, if somebody came in my house and caused me a problem, put a threat to my life or my wife's life, then I'd be forced into action. I would do something about it to the best of my ability, whatever that could be. But as for donning some different coloured clothes, signing away my moral integrity to a government, and then told I have to go to abroad and pop a cap into somebody, my mind boggles. With no investigation. Recently there was some war veterans that had come back and realised what was going on. I'll finish this first. And so they went outside Westminster and protested about what had gone on. And they took their medals off and threw them on the floor and exposed the moral hypocrisy of what they'd been forced to do and how they felt about it once they found out what they were doing and what they were actually there for and who they were there for and what they were there to do and why they were there to do it. They understood it was just a way of taking control of another country and of their resources for a higher power that the government seemed to be bowing to and working for. That was never put on the TV. It was hidden. It was just brushed under the carpet because they don't want people realising that. You know, this is your lives. You know, these are our lives. These are our futures, our moral. You know, It's mind-blowing that someone could do that. But anyway, it wasn't advertised. It was hidden away. And you notice that recently they've had a massive culling of the army top ranks. They've started getting rid of them all and then trying to bring in much more new recruits, saying we've got our army short. It's because the people at the top sussed out what was going on and couldn't do it anymore and started unable to pass this information down, and people blindly going and doing as they were told to do. You know, the Iraq war was, you know, the weapons of mass destruction and stuff like that. People catch on to that, you know, very quickly, and they're unable to do that. And I've met some people that have come back and been in the army, and when you talk to them, you know, deep down, and you look in their eyes, square in your eyes, they know. Many of them know. And they're devastated by it. They're struggling with life because of what they've done. Under the belief, let's just say, I need to say this as well, that these people are incredibly brave. Incredibly brave. Because what they do is they sign up, believing 100% in what they're doing. If I told you to take a life, you couldn't do it unless you believed 100%, fully committed to what I was saying and buying into what I was saying. You couldn't do it. It's not something you can do on a whim. You know, unless you're damaged, it's not something you can do on a whim. So these people that have been over and believed they were fighting for freedom, believed they were fighting for democracy, believed they were spreading peace ultimately around the world. But how do you kill someone to spread peace is quite beyond me. But they believed it, that's a fact. And when as time goes on, they find out that they've been lied to. They've been manipulated. They've been used. Imagine how that would be to you. Devastating. They've got to struggle with that for the rest of their lives. No wonder so many of these people come in with post-traumatic stress, unable to live in a normal society again, and really struggle with themselves on a daily basis. So this goes back to patriotism. And this goes back to peace. You know, 162 members of the United Nations that have declared a National Day of Peace in secret that you or I know nothing about. They ring a bell that was donated to them by the Chinese. And the Chinese got the money to make that bell from children. They smelted that money down and made a beautiful bell of peace, gave it to the UN. The UN ring it every year on September the 12th. And no one ever knows about it. Yeah. This is a nation that is there. United Nations are there to promote peace around the world. But promote patriotism. And patriotism is separation. They're black, they're white, they're this, they're that, they're that, you know. We all function on a certain vibration, energy vibration. And the lowest vibration, the heaviest vibration, the one that will keep you down from reaching your higher self. We've got 7 chakras, and we've got one in the middle, so it's 3 above, 3 below. If you can keep people in the lower chakras, which is what hell first came from, hell, you keep them in a lower vibration. Fear, self-preservation, procreation, anything to do with the lowest vibration, the survival instinct, is down low. And you keep people scared. Look at what you see on the TV. It's all about fear, isn't it? Fear this, scared that, the bomb this, that. You're more likely to die from choking on a peanut than you are, statistically, from an act of terror. Yet no one warns us about these dangerous peanuts that are lurking everywhere, in chocolate bars and in packets, you know, ready to leap into your throat and strangle you to death. You know, we don't hear about these peanuts. Yet we hear about terrorism. And I've got to be careful because I've looked into terrorism, deeply into terrorism, and the causes of it. And it's quite a useful tool for those that want to keep you where you need to be to stop reaching your higher self. You know, terrorism can be perpetuated by invading a country and making them your enemy, and then misrepresentation of their beliefs. You know, very easy to manipulate somebody to make them turn against you or your people, and then you can then step in the way as their saviour. You know, we will save you. Do what we say. If I can take away your rights, if I can start monitoring all your phone calls, I can protect you from terrorism. But terrorism, it keeps us in that lower vibration, keeps us down there. So we have to rise above that. You know, we got to think the middle chakra is the heart chakra. That's love. You know, if you can have love in your heart and non-judgment, then you rise yourself above that. If you have an energy field, Tesla was a great man. He came up against it as well, didn't he? You know, he came up against Edison and, you know, what was that American industrialist? I can't think of his name now. But I can see his face, but I can't see his name. But anyway, he destroyed Edison. What's his name's work? He destroyed it because he was looking for peace. He was looking for free electricity for the world. And he said, if you can't meter it, it won't be invented. Because this is about making money. This is not about giving people free electricity. So, all these great people that we think are great, you know, they're not great people. You know, they're great at making money. They're great at making sure you pay. Make sure we pay. You know. And they are mixed in with some very unsavoury characters. If you do your own history checks, you'll see that. But most of us don't. Our educational system is designed to create certain beings, certain individuals, to do jobs. Remember your career's opportunities at work? That is your career opportunity. No one told me my opportunity was to sit here and talk to you and investigate how the world is put together. There's no opportunity for that. My opportunity was to go and work in a shop. In actual fact, I wasn't given that opportunity because I was a bit of a toe rag at school. But that was what we were given. I couldn't believe all that. I was jealous of people. A part of me was really jealous. They would sit down and say, well, you could be a banker, or you could be a shopkeeper, or you could be this, or you could be that. No one said you could be an artist, or you could be a philosopher. You know, or you could be an investigator of the truth, or you could be a peace giver, or you could be, you know, all these things that we are meant to be. No one tells us about that. You know, we're all told about the system, and the system's manufactured. You know, look at school. What are we actually taught at school? Are you taught to go out and investigate anything? Are you taught to analyse, to understand yourself, your place in the universe? Are you taught to understand nature? You're not. You're taught to understand numbers and do as you're told. School is an indoctrination, not an education. It gets you prepared. It's a preparation for you going into the world, bowing down to an authority, taking information in and regurgitating that exactly as it was given to you. And those that do that best get the best jobs. They're prepared for the best jobs. I looked into the two-tier educational system. They'll tell you that there isn't a two-tier educational system when I've spoken to people. Gone out of my way to speak to people who've gone through the private education. They're taught philosophy. There's still a glass ceiling for them, by the way, but they're taught really eye-opening, mind-expanding subjects. We are taught how's it closed down, how's it narrowed. Because our opportunities, we can't be taught about philosophy and theology and, you know, the universe and our connection to it and what we really are. The fact that part of my finger is 1.618 smaller than that piece. And that piece is 1.618 smaller than that piece. This is a mathematical equation. This was made by an architect. We are made by ourselves, in actual fact. We're part of it, so we cannot be separated from it. No difference to that fingernail, although it is a separate entity. It's connected to the finger, to the joint, and to the whole body. And that in turn is connected to creation. There is no separation. We're not taught about any of that. We're taught about a career's opportunity that will put us into work to perpetuate the system that we believe is the right thing to do, has to make money. Who are we really making money for? For you, for me, or are we making it for somebody else? We control, you know, the system's controlled, it's perpetuated. digressed as usual. Mouth like a torn pocket in a hurricane. That's me. The important thing is patriotism. Bowing down, praying, worshipping a coloured rag fluttering in the sky. Because you have to be born on a piece of mud surrounded by water that you are told is called England. And you need to be proud of that. Is a nonsense. It's a joke. You know, you are a part of creation. Doesn't matter what you were born in the stars. We're born of the universe. You're a universal expression. If you want to call yourself a universal being, then that's a little bit separative. But you are a universal being. You're a glimmer of creation. You're a facet of the creative force of the universe. Don't allow anyone to bring you down to an Englishman. You're not. You're far bigger than that. You're far greater than that. You're far more important than that. And the other thing is we need to function from a place of peace within ourselves. When you know your connection and the fact that you are a creative being or being of creation, you can start to function like that, in that knowledge, and function in peace. You know, look within yourself, and then you'll realise that the world doesn't promote that. These 162 nations that joined this organisation that was created, so say, to purely promote peace around the world, and rings this bell that was made by the Chinese, money given to them by children, every year on September the 12th. No one knows about it. Now you'd think all the governments of the world, the UN, would have a minute's silence while this bell is rung, wouldn't you? I would. Do yourself a favour. Do what I did. Next time you see somebody, ask the next 10 people you see. There's a challenge. Next 10 people you see. Because I've asked a lot more than that. Ask them, is there a National Peace Day? And if there is, when is it? And let's just see how much the governments of the world, and forget their nationality, if you get to talk to them, you just ask them. I've done it in crowds. I've just, excuse us mate, just anyone. And I've done it on different nationalities on purpose. Excuse us mate, sorry to bother you, but I'm just trying to, did you know if there's a National Peace Day? I've just been trying to research it and I just can't find it. I just wondered if you knew. I don't know if there is one. And they'll look at you blankly. They'll look at everyone else did to me and say, I don't think so. Some just say plain no. But most of them, I don't think so. I don't think there is. Peace is not being promoted around the world. It's certainly not being promoted in England. And it certainly isn't being promoted in the UN, United Nations. An organisation is there purely to promote peace around the world. And anyone who joins the UN has to be a peace-loving nation and promote the same. That's what it says, because I've read it. It's just mind-blowing. These all going, what's going on in it? Yeah, spread that word. Spread the word. Maybe we should try and contact the government. I'd probably end up the same as the other people, anyone that I've looked through history that's promoted peace and unity has not lasted very long. They don't want us around. We're getting in the way of what they're trying to do. They're really trying to do. Okay, look, you have a lovely Sunday, a peaceful Sunday, and spread that word. We need to know about this. All right. There's only one of you. We all chose to make just one of you. That's how special you are. So have a lovely day, and you look after yourself.